Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Decoding Now, and I'm Meghna Deka. Well, glass towers, billion-dollar skylines, the promise of a world-class capital. This is what they promised us. Yet, just a few hours of rain have brought Delhi NCR to a complete standstill. World-class capital turns into water world. Yes, this is the dark reality of what really Delhi NCR has happened. Roads have turned into rivers. Remember the luxury apartments of Gurugram? Well, they've turned into lakes now. There are people who have spent up to 150 crore rupees in buying those fancy villas, like the Camillas, like the Dahlias, those apartment houses. But right outside, what's the point? You may have bought a fancy flat, but you cannot turn the civic apathy into luxury when there is a 7-kilometer jam in front of your house. There are roads which have turned into lakes, trees which have come crashing down on Mercedes. Look at these shots on your screens. This will tell you. Mercedes crushed under a tree. Commuters are paying the price for this apathy. If this is India's showcase metropolis, why does every monsoon tell the same story? Tonight, we are going to be decoding. Is Delhi NCR paying the price of nature's fury? Or is concrete construction or greed the price that we have to pay? That's the question. In fact, we are going to get you visuals, one after the other, which is going to tell you how exactly civic apathy is drowning Delhi. This is what happens when apathy turns into a tragedy. An under-construction building has collapsed in Delhi's Rohini area. You can see those very disturbing shots on your screens. Rescue workers trying rapidly to try and look for survivors within the debris, reducing the entire structure to a heap of concrete and bricks. This mangled mess had to be dug up. You can see the administration and the rescue relief of methods which were put in place to try and rescue those few survivors. Buried under the debris were people who never made it out alive. This is not just negligence, this is murder by apathy. The reported trigger was incessant rainfall. But was the rain alone responsible? What about the safety checks? Were there precautions which were taken as they should have? What were the authorities doing? Once again, it is negligence which appears to have come at the cost of human life. In Delhi, 3 deaths have happened because of this negligence. Next set of visuals. Take a look at the visuals which are coming in from Ghaziabad. And this is horrific. A massive crater opened up right in the middle of the road. Just one spell of heavy rain, that's all it took. And this is the Delhi NCR. The entire stretch has given way. The entire road caved in. There is a scooter you can see as well as a car. Both of them plunged straight into this pit which opened up. Thankfully, this time there were no reports of any casualties. Those who were inside the car and on the scooter were successfully evacuated, successfully were brought in. But the question still remains the same. Who will take responsibility when a road caves in like this? When a car that you are driving suddenly falls into what happens to be nothing? Who answers for the infrastructure that collapses at the very first rain test, which fails every year? This is the reality. Now watch the next set of visuals. This one is coming in from Gurugram, the NCR's so-called cyber city. Surrounded by gleaming malls and towering skyscrapers, yet the state of civic infrastructure tells a very different story. The drains appear to have failed yet again. This bird's eye view will see what appears to be a river is actually the road. You can't even see the road in those bird's eye view, the drone shots that we were just showing for you. The drains have again failed Gurugram. Just one spell of heavy rain and large parts of the city are completely submerged. And this is the same story. Year after year, scene after scene, it's exactly the same. Every year, the same promises are made and a lasting solution still seems to be nowhere in sight. Unfortunately, it's no better in Noida as well. which is of course popularly known as NCR's IT hub. But what about the IT hub? Look at the state that Noida was reduced to today. Looking at these visuals, you wouldn't think that this is the gleaming IT capital of the NCR. This is what people had to go through. The price of apathy paid by the commuters. Commuters were seen wading through these waterlogged roads, dragging their stalled scooters with them. Look at the state of affairs. The engines have simply given up after being submerged in water. A single spell of heavy rain and the entire city is left struggling to stay on the move. There were reports coming in of water getting into cars as well as people tried desperately to reach their destination. This, of course, is on an office day. So people were trying to get to their offices and some will now try to get back home. All we can see is best of luck and may God save you, because at the end of it, when it comes to the civic bodies, it is Ram Bharose that you are left to. But back to the national capital, Delhi, where even cars which were parked are no longer safe. Just look at these visuals from everyday cars, such as Wagoner, to luxury vehicles like a Mercedes. That is the Wagoner that you can see on your screens. Nothing was spared. That's a gleaming Mercedes. Imagine the extent of damage done to this Mercedes. And this, of course, is the Wagoner when trees come crashing down on it. Vehicles being badly damaged. That is a Mercedes. Vehicle completely damaged. Reports are suggesting that there is excessive concrete, paving, as well as encroachments, which have weakened the roots of these trees, which has let these trees get uprooted with the first spell of rains. Bigger question is, who was supposed to prevent this? Let's take a look at the civic budget of these cities, because remember, people like you and me, we continue to pay our taxes. So if you have to give 100% taxes, but this is the service which is barely 10% of what these people are paid to do, whose fault is this? Why is there no accountability? It's not as if there's a shortage of money. Let's make it very clear. This is Delhi. This is the national capital region. There is absolutely no shortage of money here in the government coffers. There are these public funds. We are getting this down for you. This is for Delhi. This is public funds. People like me who are paying taxes in Delhi. This is our money. Yet year after year, the same civic failures keep repeating. Look at Delhi's civic budget for the financial year of 2026 and 2027, which was approved by just a few months back, approved in the Delhi Assembly. This is what the MCD has coffers filled up to 11,000 crore rupees. More than that, this is close to 6,000 crore rupees is lying with the PWD. The DJB, the Delhi Jal Board, gets 9,000 crore rupees of budget. So the total budget which has been approved for these three alone is 26,187 crore rupees. But where is this money going? Literally right down the drain. But let's take a look at Noida's civic budget as well for this very year. This is the outlay which has been approved by the Noida authorities. A big allocation, yet the same civic issues which continue to haunt the residents. These numbers may just surprise you or perhaps not. In Noida, the Noida Authority budget which has been approved is 2026-27 is that of a whopping 10,290 crore rupees, and this is the state of Noida. We have these visuals playing for you so that you can be reminded of how much you have paid in taxpayers' money. And remember, this is your money. This is your money which has been given. The taxpayers' money, 10,000 crore rupees, and this is the roads that they have prepared for you by taking this money from you. Have you worked this hard, paid your taxes on time to get this in return? That's a simple question. But now let's also tell you about another story. Unfortunately, it's no different this time in cyber city of Gurugram. The NCR's Millennium City is struggling with waterlogging, but the numbers take a different story. Take a look at the figures there on your screens, which will show you how the civic budget for this financial year is when it comes to the cyber city. Gurugram's budget this year for the GMDA, there are two of them. The GMDA, it's 3,500 crore rupees. For the MCG, it is 1,875 crore rupees. So a total budget that Gurugram has is 5,375,000 crore rupees. This is the money that people in Gurugram have been paying, and this is the state of affairs in Gurugram. Simple questions that we are asking for you. Is this what you paid for? Is this why you're working so hard? Is this why you're paying the taxes? And is that what you're getting in return? Across in Ghaziabad, it seems like your tax money has literally disappeared into a crater. This is the budget outlay which has been approved by the Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation for this financial year. Take a look at the whopping number there on your screens. There you have it. 3,500 crore rupees is the Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation's budget for this year. And this is the gaping crater which has opened up in the middle of the road. Yes, the entire road caved in. Cars and scooters fell into that road when they were traveling. This is the state of affairs. Authorities may call the rain unprecedented, but let's understand the simple science behind why Delhi gets drenched. It starts with the intense summer heat, which creates a low pressure area over the city. Think of it like a vacuum. In fact, science says that air moves from high pressure to low pressure. And therefore, the low pressure areas in Delhi pulls in the air from the nearby areas. This air carries a lot of moisture along with it. So when these moisture-filled winds meet over Delhi, they are pushed upwards. So as the air rises higher, it then cools down. The moisture then turns into tiny water droplets, forming heavy rain clouds. And when these clouds become too heavy, they release intense rainfall within a very short span of time, which is why you see this burst of rain which happens, leaving roads flooded and daily life disrupted. This is not a sudden and unpredictable move. It's important for us to point out it's not sudden, it is not unpredictable. It is a weather pattern that returns every monsoon. The weather department can track it, but the question is, why isn't our civic infrastructure ready for it? But now let's also take a look and tell you about tomorrow. Everyone's wondering, what about tomorrow? Well, let's tell you what the Met Department has said, the weather alerts which are coming in right now. And you must prepare for this, especially if you're in Delhi. In Delhi, there is a red alert which has been sounded for tomorrow, the 10th of July. Extremely heavy rainfall in big pockets of the city. In Noida, there is an orange alert, which means high to moderate rain as well as thunderstorms can be expected. And it is the same in Gurugram, that there is an orange alert, moderate rain and thunderstorm can be expected in Noida as well as Gurugram. Let's also tell you about Mumbai. Well, there is a yellow alert which has been sounded. And in Pune, there's a yellow alert as well. So essentially, there's going to be heavy rain, but only in some parts when it comes to Mumbai. Now let's go across to our panelists. Today joining us on the show, we have Dr. Sudhir Krishna, former Secretary of the Ministry of Urban Development. Also, Kanak Gupta is joining us, an environmentalist and co-founder of My Right to Breathe. I'm going to first start with Dr. Sudhir Krishna. Dr. Krishna, you must explain to us. Everyone says that this is nature's fury. Is it really nature's fury? Or is it the fallout of greed, of apathy, of a civic mess? A man-made disaster?
I think it is, nature is changing its behavior a bit. It's called climate change. So we have to be prepared for it. And I think the unfortunate thing is that cities are not preparing to meet the challenge, because the rainwater is very important. After the rains have come, the pollution levels have come down, and the air has become much better, and the temperatures have come down. So, and also this water, if it is stored properly, it can serve in the later part of the year, and this water can beautify the cities. But unfortunately, the drainage systems are not taken care of. And what we require is, on one hand, revise our drainage plan on a regional basis. You see, city water has to go out of the city. It cannot be absorbed entirely in the city. Water comes into city, whether Delhi or whether Gurgaon or whether Bombay. The water comes from outside the city and goes outside the city. So some water has to be stored in the city, in the lakes, and in the subsoil area, aquifers. And some has to go out and meet the rivers. But unfortunately, the drainage plans are not up to date. And whatever is up to date, to what extent that encroachments are there, people are dumping, solid waste is being dumped there, plastic waste, construction, demolition waste, encroachments, all those things are contributing. So merely cleaning the drain, which is necessary but not sufficient. Sufficiency come if the drainage plan is updated, and we have to calculate how much rain is coming. And now we have got artificial intelligence, we have got good the programs, we have got the databases under e-governance. We can make a model that if so much rain, if so much rain comes, then where will the water flow? What are the points where the water will be blocking? And those things can be cleared. So the unfortunate thing is that there are too many authorities which are working independently. So if it can be integrated through the development authorities, I think this solution is very much possible.
Okay, that's very interesting. Are there too many cooks spoiling the broth here? Kanak Gupta, how do you see this happening? Because honestly, every year on year, day on day, we know which cities, even which parts of these cities are going to get crowded. Why don't the civic authorities know that if every person who lives there knows about it?
Well, the problem remains, I think Dr. Krishna hit the nail on the head. The problem remains that, everyone's reactive and not proactive. There's no planning. There is no accountability. See, the problem also remains that this is an all year round problem. It cannot just be during the rains or the pollution season that we all wake up and we try figure out. There's also one more thing that we as, citizens need to have proper civic sense, which at times is lacking. We don't practice conscious consumption. Our government does not practice conscious governance by planning ahead of time. So the conscious living part is not there. Simple things such as making the city Gurugram, where I live, if the sidewalks were not concrete, but they were like sponge, that could absorb the water, that would solve a lot of the problem. We are in a rush to make Gurugram the Millennium City. We are in a rush to develop Noida and Delhi. And in some ways, I'm not against development at all. I think development and sustainability will go hand in hand. But we have to be planned. We have to be conscious of it. We cannot just put the blame on the policymakers. All of us have to put our hands up and say, hey, we are all responsible in this. I think right now we are living in a place, unless we have better civic sense, there is a disaster waiting to happen. It's a ticking time bomb for all of us.
I agree with you, Kanak, because there are encroachments, which is an actual problem. People blocking and encroaching upon storm water drains, that is a problem. When there are builders carrying out constructions, are all the checks and balances put in place? If that had happened, perhaps a disaster like it happened in Delhi would not have happened. But Dr. Sudhir Krishna, you talked about the long-term goal. Who really devises that? How do we go about it? Because you, the former Secretary of Urban Development, you'd understand where the chokeholds are right now. Why are we unable to do it if we want to develop Delhi NCR in an integrated manner over the next, let's say, 5 years?
See, the most important thing is to have a regional plan for drainage systems.
Right.
I mean, as I said earlier, that water has to go outside Delhi, outside Gurugram. It comes from outside and goes outside. So regional basis planning is very much required. And the NCR Planning Board, which comes under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, the formerly Ministry of Urban Development. I mean, the planning board is mandated to prepare a drainage plan. The drainage plan was prepared some years ago. It needs to be updated, and updated with the latest position of where rainfall pattern has changed on the one hand, and the land uses and the habitation pattern has also got changed in the last 20 years significantly. So the plan has to be revised, and planning board has to be put on a firmer and higher pedestal. Today there is a multiplicity of authorities, and therefore which authorities area somebody cleans up its drain and thinks that there will be no flooding. It is not true. It may be short term, it may not flood, but if the rains come for longer time, then somewhere further down the line, if there is a blockage, then water will come back, and backward the behind area also will get flooded. That is what is happening. So I think it's high time that development authorities like NCR Planning Board, Delhi Development Authority, GMDA in Gurugram, and like that in Ghaziabad Development Authority, all these have to given a higher pedestal, and they have to gear up. Now technology is very, very much available. It is not costly also. And in fact, I find in Gurugram and in Noida, everywhere, tech-savvy institutions are there, volunteers are there, people are volunteering to support the authorities. They are willing to help out in preparation of map. Money is not an issue. Today, urban development sector is getting so much money from the government, which was never before. So neither money is an issue, nor technology is an issue. And so therefore, what is the issue? The issue is management. The leadership issue is there. So
Absolutely.
I think the leaders of the development authorities and planning, NCR Planning Board, they must come forward now to update the plans and execute it putting everybody together. That leadership is required now.
I think you're absolutely right. What we lack is perhaps imagination. There is no shortage of money or volunteers and the will of the people. What we seem to be lacking is the leadership. What we seem to be lacking is the imagination to actually do something about it instead of taking knee-jerk reactions and steps every time it happens as if it's the first time happening. Hopefully next year we're not going to have this conversation. Dr. Sudhir Krishna, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Kanad Gupta, pleasure to have you on the show. With that, we are going to be wrapping up Decoding Now. Hopefully, we are going to have better civic sense and better preparedness next time around. Thank you for joining us.